AEW's biggest problem in 2025. Now, it's not just one problem that AEW have in 2025, but there's one main one that stands out and is just pretty disappointing overall. Because I am desperate for AEW to succeed, desperate for them to do well, but they're just. Well, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to say it. AEW's biggest problem is that they do not carry on momentum. They do not capitalize when everyone is talking about them in a positive way. They have an incredible PLE, whether that's Double or Nothing, All In. They have an incredible PLE that puts WWE to shame. Right? WWE in 2025 couldn't dream of putting on a PLE that good. Look at WrestleMania. Compare WrestleMania this year to All In. All In puts it to shame, embarrasses it. Right? You take their two biggest shows, WrestleMania, All In. Both companies' biggest shows. AEW embarrasses WrestleMania. And then Double or Nothing, they have an incredible PLE. Everyone's talking about them online in a positive way. Even WWE fans that usually don't give AEW the time of day. They don't watch them every week, or they just don't really care that much, right? Even they're talking about how good AEW was. Even they're raving about it. But then it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, people watch these PLEs and they're like, it gives them hope, right? Maybe we have an alternate. Maybe I don't have to put myself through WWE every week. I'll just switch over to AEW, right? Because you've got to realize, if you're a AEW fan watching this video, a lot of WWE fans, they're always going to sway more towards WWE. Always. So they can't just switch over to AEW and forget about WWE, because they've known WWE since they were a kid and they're not willing to completely give up on them. But if AEW was to put on good shows every single week, a lot of them would stop watching WWE, because a lot of people just want a good wrestling show and not just a good pay-per-view. There's been that many WWE PLEs lately. The word PLEs on my brain non-stop. But pay-per-view, they put on a really good pay-per-view, but then there's no real reason to watch every week. You know what I mean? Like, there's no real reason to, like, it's just like WWE fans that are been in the mindset of WWE for years, since they were a kid, and it's going to take a lot for them to get out of that mindset and over to AEW, but part of them wants to, right? Maybe they watched All In, maybe they watched Double or Nothing, and they're like, damn, if they put on shows like this regularly, then I'll have no choice but to switch over. But they don't. They'll inevitably have another good pay-per-view. Oh, I'm going to smack myself next time I say that. Pay-per-view. They'll put on another good pay-per-view. But then they don't really go anywhere. Like, there's no real, like, AEW Dynamite after All In. I didn't really watch it. I was going to, but then I saw the card that they had planned. And, like, you can't throw Hangman into tag team matches. And he's got a one-on-one match next week again against Wheeler Utah, I think, right? You can't really do that. You can't just, like, he's your champion. Imagine throwing Roman Reigns into a match every week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just like and there's been many examples. Remember the MJF thing with Tony Khan? Huge. Could have had the potential to be what Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon was for AEW. Right? It had the potential to just. It wouldn't have been to that level. Nowhere near. It's impossible that anything will ever reach that level again in terms of a storyline. Impossible. But it could have been their version of that, where it gets people over from WWE, gets fans' attention. Something that you need to watch every week. Not just something you want to watch, you're curious about, You need to watch it every single week to see where it goes, see what happens next. Right? Wardlow. Does anyone know what Wardlow is doing these days? I haven't seen again. I'm not an avid AEW fan that watches every single week. I'm not. So I haven't seen or heard of Wardlow in quite a while. And he was supposed to be their next big name, their next kind of beast, right? That's what a lot of people in the world of wrestling were talking about Wardlow when he was in that MJF storyline. Gone nowhere since, really. You know what I mean? Like they constantly fail to capitalize on momentum because fans are desperate for an alternative, desperate for AEW to be really good so that they genuinely have a full reason to switch over from WWE. Because, as I say, WWE fans that are in the mentality of, I've been watching WWE since I was a kid and all of this, and it's hard to give up on. They're not just going to switch over to AEW because AEW puts on one or two good matches a show, maybe one good storyline. They're going to need AEW to be really good 50% of the time, right? You're not going to be able to put on a really good show every week. That's unrealistic expectations. That's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. That's never going to happen. That's never happened in the past. Even Attitude Era, it wasn't really good every single week. That's impossible. But you can at least have a really good storyline that carries on each week that people need to see. And then maybe if they tune into that storyline, they'll tune in for the rest of the show and they'll see what else you're doing and they'll see, okay, this is quite interesting as well. I'll watch next week to see this happen as well. You know what I mean? If you grab the fans' attention that doesn't watch every week with a really good storyline, because you're not going to grab new fans over by having good matches. That's not going to happen because it hasn't happened. AEW has been putting on good matches every week for years, right? Years. Every Dynamite, you're going to see at least one good match. And their viewers have gone down and down and down and down and down. They're in the 500,000s, right? They're competing back with NXT, losing to them a lot of weeks, right? So good matches is great, but it's not going to get new fans over. What's going to get new fans over is a really big and good storyline. That's what's going to get new people over. That's what's going to grab people's attention. Oh, I need to see what's going to happen in this storyline. I need to see the culmination of it. I don't need to just watch the PLE. I need to see the storyline behind it. Right? That's what AEW needs, because the momentum that they have instantly fails after 1 or 2 weeks. They'll have a really good pay-per-view. And then it's back to, like, you know what I mean? They might put on a good show, but nothing really big. That's a big talking point that's going to grab new fans. Tony Khan has to realise people are sick of WWE. People are very, very tired, exhausted, bored of WWE right now. Whether that's Triple H or the way TKO is running the company, what the company's become. A lot of fans are sick of it, tired of it. Right? We just want to watch a wrestling show. We don't want to see a Slim Jim logo on the table. We don't want to see 50 different logos on the ring, on the barricade, on the apron. We don't want to see boring television. We don't want to see all of this. This is not for us. This is not for wrestling fans. This is for kids. TKO does not care. They're just about making as much money as possible, throw as many PLEs at people as possible, don't put any effort into any of them, and ask for thousands of our money, thousands of our pounds or dollars or euros, whatever, in the process. So fans are desperate for something different, a wrestling show. AEW is our main hope of that, right? Because even TNA, that's WWE now, right? That's in partnership with WWE, and then eventually will be taken over fully by WWE. So that hope is gone. So it is literally just AEW. It is just AEW. Fans are desperate for them, and Tony Khan has to realise that. He has to realise, shit, if we start putting on good shows every week, not even great shows, just good shows with a great show every now and then, right? A great show every 3 or 4 shows, people will start coming over. Your viewers will go up because you can't just cater to your niche every week, right? Your niche wants to see good matches, so we'll give them that. But you also need to get in new fans. You need to bring in the casual fans, the fans that want a good wrestling show. Because I know there's the kind of split in wrestling fans, right? Is wrestling about wrestling matches or is it about storylines? It's both. It's both. To have a really good match, you need a storyline behind it, right? You need a storyline behind it. You need a reason to care. If we next week just got, I don't know, who's 2 really good wrestlers? If next week, right, we was to get, my mind has gone blank. I was going to say Seth Rollins, but I don't think he's capable right now. Maybe he is. Maybe it's all a work. I don't know. But if you was to get, my mind has gone blank. 2 really good wrestlers, right? Come up with it in your own head. 2 really good wrestlers. And it just got announced. They're having a match next week. Let's use an actual example. CM Punk, Gunther. That's what they're actually doing, right? We've only got 2 weeks to build up for it. But imagine it was even less. Imagine if it got announced for next week. You're not going to care. Right? I mean, you might care, but not as much as you should, even if they go out there and have a really good match. You do announce Omega versus Seth Rollins, Omega AJ Styles, Ospreay versus Chad Gable, Ospreay versus, again, my mind's gone blank, Ospreay versus Gunther, something. And it's for next week. It's like, damn, we're going to see a really good match, but it's not going to make you watch every week. It's not going to make you, because you don't have a chance to. It's not going to get you needing to see the match. You might watch it, but you don't need to see it, right? That's what a storyline is for. A storyline gives you a reason to care about the match, and then you do get the really good match. It's both. Vice versa. If you have a really good storyline, but then the match sort of disappoints, you won't remember the storyline as well. You need both. The most recent one I can think about, for WWE at least, because that's, again, I watch WWE every week. I don't watch AEW every week. So when I think of examples, WWE comes to mind. WWE, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, really good storyline, and then a really good match at Bad Blood, right? So we got both, and that is why it's so memorable. That's why we'll remember it for a long time. That's why it was perfect. We got both. Storyline, match. It's about both. AEW can't just cater to the good matches niche. We need storylines. That's what's going to grab new fans. As I said earlier in this video, good matches they've been doing for years, and their viewers have gone down over half. The viewers have gone down by half, right? They were in and around 1 million, right? They'd go over 1 million every now and then. Now they're in the 500 and the 600,000s by doing good matches. And good matches is good for the niche. It's good for the live crowd, and it might get people excited, but it's not going to grab new fans, and that's what they need, right? Storylines is what they need. And then the good matches. And then it's the best of both worlds, and everyone's happy. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's excited for the pay-per-view. Everyone has a great time watching the pay-per-view. And everyone continues to watch after the pay-per-view because they know we're going to go into some new storylines and it's going to be really fun, right? But that is AEW's biggest problem in 2025. I couldn't possibly make this video on WWE because the video would be unwatchable. It would be too long to upload to YouTube. It would break a record. I don't know what the longest video on YouTube is, but it would be that. If I was to go over WWE's problems, it would break records for the longest video ever put onto this platform. It would. I can't even begin to go over how the amount of problems and how bad that company is. But I wanted to talk about AEW because I really want them to succeed. We need them to succeed. Even if you're a diehard WWE fan, we all need AEW to do well, because if AEW does well, WWE has to do well, and vice versa. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe.